It's all about the money. Money, money, money. Make it rain. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crazy Pro-Wrasslin. Welcome back to yet another episode of WWE Rants and Reviews, or Pro Wrestling Rants and Reviews, whatever you like to call it. It does cover pro wrestling in general, and I'm sure at the moment you're wondering what the heck is with this get up, especially you have only been watching my rants and reviews. Basically, I want to make sure you guys get the best content possible, and that includes miking up, making sure that my audio is absolute spot on, as best as possible anyways. But with that being said, what is the topic I'm speaking on today? It is an absolute hot topic. It is so hot, it is hotter than hell itself, and that being on the Saudi Arabia controversy with the reporter, and I'm just going to read it here, the name, I might even still get the pronunciation wrong, Jamal Khashoggi, who obviously went into the Saudi consulate and didn't come out. Turns out he ended up being killed under orders from the Saudi prince, allegedly. But their story is that it happened in a fight that fight gone wrong from his side, but it all doesn't make sense at the moment. So with that being said, so the topic is with WWE Crown Jewel coming up, as you may know, especially those avid watchers, WWE is doing an event in Saudi Arabia called WWE Crown Jewel. As it is, people did not like the idea even before the controversy showed up. Even before that, people were still not liking the idea of WWE going to Saudi Arabia, just because of the way Saudi Arabia tends to deal with their things. Is because it's still a developing place. It's a place that is so backwards with laws. It's so behind the times that people were just in general weren't wanting WWE to go to Saudi Arabia anyways because of that. And now this has just added fuel to the fire and just given people more of a reason to complain about WWE going to Saudi Arabia. So the big question is, should WWE still continue going to Saudi Arabia despite the controversy that's been happening, despite the added fuel to the fire because of this? And there's a few viewpoints already, I know. So for those who've been following the tweets and interviews done with the likes of JBL, Kevin Nash and Randy Orton, they all think WWE should still go to Saudi Arabia because they personally believe that change can be made. Change through WWE can be made to Saudi Arabia. And you know what? If they absolutely believe that can happen, then fine, I can be on board with that. I can understand their reasoning for it. However, I think JBL's viewpoint is more from a business standpoint. He knows how much money WWE are getting from this deal. They're getting a ton of money just from it. I don't know, over a 10-year deal, they're going to get something like $450 million, which is absolutely incredible, absolutely ridiculous. So WWE have a lot to gain by continuing their relationship with Saudi Arabia. Certainly from a monetary point of view, they certainly have a lot to gain. However, I think they also have a lot to lose, because if there are a ton of sponsors, and I don't know how the sponsors are feeling towards WWE about their move, about carrying on their relationship with Saudi Arabia. Maybe it will all depend how things end up playing out, but personally, I think if WWE continue their relationship with Saudi Arabia, it could affect their relationship with especially with their more avid sponsors around the world, the rest of the world that aren't liking the idea. So that could be a downside. On another point, it's not like WWE are in any trouble financially. And that's the truth of the matter. WWE are nowhere near in financial trouble at the moment. I mean, to an extent, maybe they're not making as much money as they potentially used to, which is why they've had to cut costs over the last couple of years so much. But they're still not in heavy trouble, in my opinion, from my viewpoint. They're still a worldwide television show, which means they are getting a ton of revenue from television deals, sponsorships, WrestleMania, big events, house shows. They're still getting a ton of money in. So while they are losing quite a bit if they break off the deal, I just feel they aren't going to go bankrupt. It's not like they're going to be out of business the next day. They can still move forward without Saudi Arabia. And so that's the business side of things. That's my viewpoint on the business side of things. Also, I feel, I mean, what's abundantly clear about Saudi Arabia at the moment is that, especially with this show, is that it's just a publicity stunt, especially for Saudi Arabia. It's a publicity stunt because Saudi Arabia are trying to let the world see what changes are being made in their country. And admittedly, there may be small changes happening, but it's happening at such a slow pace. And again, the idea for these WWE events is that they can showcase, ultimately they can showcase what they want to, what they need to the rest of the world, to say, hey, look, we're actually progressing. Give us money. Come visit our country. Support us. Because we are doing such a great job. And do you know what WWE gets out from that as well, apart from the money? WWE gets to look good by saying, hey, look, we're a part of this change too. But it's a facade. It's a way to look good, but it's not working. The rest of the world sees past that. And that's what I don't like. It gets under my skin that that's the case. And look, I get, if, going back to kind of what Randy Orton and Nash was saying about WWE making a change, if that is really the case, if that is the absolute real case, I can maybe get behind it. But I want to see actual change. I want to hear actual change. I want to see actual positivity. At the end of the day, if WWE are really, really making a change in Saudi Arabia, I can maybe get on board. With these events, with the showcase, with whatever. But if it really is just for the money, which, by the way, a lot of it really is for the money, then what are you really doing? What are you really saying about your company? So to kind of sum up this whole rant, should WWE still do Crown Jewel? Personally, no. And I know it may sound like I'm judging Saudi Arabia. I know it may sound like I'm giving up on Saudi Arabia. I believe change can be made. I really, really do. But with the current climate, the way things are currently run, all the negativity, I just don't think it's worth it. And maybe I'll look back at this a year from now and maybe things will have changed. Maybe things will have gotten better, and maybe then I will have changed my mind. I wouldn't mind doing a follow-up video if that does end up being the case. But as of right now, the way I'm personally feeling about the whole situation, I don't believe WWE should be running WWE Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. I think it would be a mistake. I think you're going to get a ton of backlash. More backlash that you could potentially handle. The worst part is going to be is if WWE ends up running the event and then evidence comes out about the whole situation, the reporter, and then you're in even more of a mess than you were before, and that is going to affect your stock heavily. So that was my opinion on WWE running Crown Jewel. Wow, that was heavy. I will admit that, folks. That was a lot to take in. I'm sure a lot of you at home watching right now will maybe agree with me. Some might not agree with me. Please let me know your actual thoughts on the situation. Should WWE still run Saudi Arabia? Should they continue their relationship with Saudi Arabia? Give me your thoughts. I would love to know. But folks, that is all we have time for right now. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss a single video upcoming. But until that time, I will see you next time.